We're settling grudges now.
Yeah, why not? Let's do it.
All right.
Let's crash right into that.
Okay, I think we're on Facebook now too.
And as always, we have a no BS policy when we respond to anything that we're responding to.
They're flowing in already.
We like to cut straight to the truth, the science, the substance of the matter. And I think we've done quite well in 45 shows. We haven't screwed up anything too bad.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we were getting fact checked, we'd do quite well. So that's the goal, anyways. All right. Well, we got some questions coming in. Questions about the history of 034 Motorsport, about Nate and I, experiences, anything like that. Happy to chat about.
Are you guys able to check Facebook?
I can't open it.
It's acting weird.
Oh, let's start out with this interesting question. What is 034's roadmap for electric tuning? I'm not sure anyone has a roadmap quite yet, and I can. We've talked about this, I think, last year, and the earlier on when we started doing these. But right now, there's just not a lot of electric cars. There are some. In Volkswagen Audi, there's the e-tron SUV and the e-Golf, and then there's the ID3 and the ID4. ID3 is Europe only. ID4 is the US SUV, Volkswagen SUV. And I'm not really aware of anyone who's tuning electric cars, even in the Tesla world or anything like that. And those electric powertrain systems are extremely tunable, so that's not the issue. But one issue with Tesla is they do over-the-air updates. So even if you got into the Tesla ECU and reprogrammed it, it would get written over within a few days. And actually, the car might warn Tesla that something had been done, and it could cause other issues as well. So the tuning strategy with electric vehicles is certainly in the handling department. There's also kind of accessories. But wheels, springs, suspension, sway bars, electric cars still have those types of things. And then there's a lot of aesthetic stuff too that we don't really get into, but you could do like lip spoilers, wings and diffusers, carbon fiber fake bullet holes, cool trick stuff like that. There will be, internal combustion engines on the road for decades to come, and Volkswagen and Audi will be releasing cars for at least another 5 to 10 years. So as a company, we're heavily focused on 10 to 15-year-old cars right now, 5 to 15-year-old. And so even if Volkswagen and Audi stopped making internal combustion engines tomorrow, we'd still have a good 15 years of tuning with the engines that are out there. So the other thing is the customers aren't quite there. So up till this point, not many people have bought electric cars because they're more fun to drive or because of the performance. Not to say Teslas are very fast and have incredible performance, but most of the people that buy those cars are looking for the supposed environmental benefits. It's certainly a status symbol to drive a Tesla, and then the efficiency of, if you have an e-Golf, you commute 100 miles a day, you're looking to save money on gas, and maybe you have solar panels, and so you're basically charging your car for free. But not many people are like, I bought an e-Golf because I want to, hoon it and go on track. So we are developing some products, and we're looking into e-Golf products. Nate has one.
I have one.
Jason Camisa is a popular automotive journalist, has some of our parts on his car.
Yeah, they're shockingly fun. For what they are. They're intended obviously to be a commuter, eco, oriented car, but just the nature of the electric drivetrain with the battery on the bottom and your torquey electric motor that's always there with everything it's got. They're a blast to drive around.
Yeah, and he says his e-Golf, he has like like real wheels and tires on it. And
yeah, wheels and tires goes a long way on that car. They come with a pretty terrible option from the start.
But he thinks it's faster than a GTI of similar
cornering and
handling wise and power wise and stuff. So, yeah. So I think in the next 5 years we'll definitely be doing more and more electrified tuning products, but I don't think anyone really knows yet how recalibrating the electric motor system. I don't know if anyone has any idea how that would work yet. So, but if the past is reflected in the future, the industry will figure it out. We will find ways to do it. Everyone said this about all the different Motronic variants along the way, that they were uncrackable and blah blah blah, and NSA security, and here we are. We're tuning every ECU pretty much available.
Well, and actually, interesting note: the e-Golf is a variant of like MED17, obviously not ME or D, but it uses a very similar architecture to the gas motor. So it's just a stripped down version of architectures that we already calibrate. So it's not too far off.
The question is, can we make it fart?
The crackles are going to be tough.
It will actually be farting sounds.
Trying to think if that has a structure-born sound.
They don't have speakers. The Teslas do.
The WWE sells the little.
Yeah.
You can get the Miltech. The Miltech has that
thing's
speaker
cool.
exhaust thing. It's shockingly accurate in some setups.
All right. So,
and I think I apologize. It did take Facebook a bit to come up there. I had to kick it on manually. I don't know what the deal is there. So sorry, Facebook, you were a minute or so behind.
Okay. Someone's asking, Nate, if you could interview anyone, dead or alive, who would it be?
Oh, God. I probably should have read that question before because I have no idea what my answer would be off the cuff.
You could think about it. If
you I'll have to come back to that. Okay. I really don't know.
Someone's asking about RS6 parts. I'm assuming that's the new RS6. We'll certainly have parts on the way. If you listen to us every week, you know how many products we have that we're working on for all the cars that have been on the market for a while. So I think very likely in 2022, next year, we'll release a lot more products. But there's no way that we can't add too much more onto our current plate right now.
Well, I do have a thought, at least it popped into my head for who I'd want to. I'd say probably Howard Hughes.
He's really interesting.
Just such a bizarre, very engineering-minded, eccentric.
Very eccentric.
Broke all the rules,
but brilliant.
But brilliant. Did all the really pioneered so many industries from air flight to you name it. That's the one's popping into my head first.
Of course, you'd probably want to do it earlier on.
I think a little before all the rest.
Totally at the end, unfortunately. Let's see what else. Purchased a Goodwood Green B9 S4 and took it to Sonoma fully stock. While I didn't die, it could certainly use some help on track. What products do you recommend to keep the car planted on track but still livable on the street? Well, you came in the right place.
Yeah, that's literally our packages.
That is what we do. So, I would suggest taking a look at our B9 catalog on our website. Go there, punch in your make and model of your car. I think for me personally, I would start with the Dynamic Plus springs and at least the rear sway bar.
Yeah.
But the front and rear sway bar, our Dynamic Plus package is really nice. It makes the car rotate more, and it handles very flat. I would suggest sticking with your stock tires, wheels initially until you get more comfortable with controlling the car. I actually think that really grippy tires are a huge detriment to people who are learning how to drive. Yeah. You want to get to the limit much more quickly and easier at lower speeds than you could get with really good tires.
Yeah, we said it before, and based on the question, I think you're maybe fairly new to track day driving, but the driver mod is going to be one of your biggest assets. Is just slow down, take time to learn, really take feedback from instruction. Yeah, just get seat time out there. It's going to be huge.
And I'll be very honest that you don't need any of our products to track that car. You can have a lot of fun with that car, but it's going to be limited to the degree that once your driving gets to a certain point, you're going to want to get rid of a lot of the pushing that the car does, and you're going to need better brakes eventually as you go faster.
Where do I buy a Stage 2 driver mod? Well,
you buy them at Track Days.
Time and effort put into it.
Yes, and you install them one day at a time.
Have lots of humility when you go out there, and just be a sponge and absorb everything you can.
Then you can take a look at some of our inserts. They're low cost, easy to install products. Those tighten things up further. And then I would strongly suggest our front camber arms, which will allow you to dial in some camber, and that not only gives you a lot more grip, but it gives you a lot more tire life.
And when you go to the springs, you'll get a little bit of additional camber.
A little bit
with those as well.
Yeah. So I would start with those things, and there's we have intake products, so if you don't need those for the track, but all of our products add something to the track driving experience, and they're all very streetable as well. I want to reiterate that. So there's kind of a misconception that for a car to be faster on track, it's going to ruin it for the street, and that's not necessarily true.
We're not talking race car stuff here.
Yeah, well, these aren't race cars. If it's the requirements that a race car has versus a driving event track day car are very different. But for a driver track day car, you want to keep the comfort in, but there's still so much we can do to improve the performance. So we have won track competitions with street cars with all of our product catalog bolt-ons thrown on against other cars with race car parts. We've still been faster on track. So making a car stiff and unlivable isn't necessarily one of the key requirements to making it go faster. I mean, I think you look at Porsche or the RS models are good examples of that, where they are faster, they handle better, but they're still street drivable.
Yeah, it's all about picking compromises where the manufacturers have to pick up from a much wider swath of compromises. They're trying to make a vehicle that 99% of the people in the world are going to want to drive. You might be on the little sportier side of the more you want that firmer, the sharper response. So you can, thankfully we're here to help kind of set your car up how you want it versus how everyone sort of wants it.
Well, and we can do a lot of those things using rubber or other materials that still don't transfer a lot of NVH. Versus going to solid, spherical or metal bushing. Now we have those spherical products as well, but you can do a lot with the engineering. You don't have to go straight to the race car stuff. A lot of questions today. Do we recommend the killer chiller for a 3.0 T V6? What is that?
I've never heard of it. So it integrates basically the AC system that it's used as part of the cooling loop for the charger.
Yes.
It is nothing we've ever run, tested, or can really
we can't really
give you that much information on.
There's no free lunch.
There's no you're using energy there. You're creating heat elsewhere.
You're going to offset the power gain with the energy that the AC compressor requires.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything that indicates, in the wild, at least with any logs or anything like that, that indicates that it's one of those things where it's revolutionary and transforms the car. That's all I can really say. We've never used them.
Someone says, I don't see a lot of support for the B9 SQ5. Nick, I'm right here. You just talked to me. Any plans for expanding more support for the platform?
He's got two phones there. He's got one logged into his
It's got to be one account. Yeah.
He's gonna big Facebook.
Yeah.
That's right. Yes, good news. Thanks to Nick.
Nick's pioneering solo effort.
Yeah, you have B9 SQ5 owners have a mole here, shoving ideas and attention towards the B9.
Don't even put a screenshot in there. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, right. That's just Photoshop. But no, we do have a lot. We have a really cool strut brace coming for that. We have lowering links,
intake,
full X34 carbon fiber intake, tuning.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming.
The package.
Yeah. I don't know if we're gonna do a high flow cat because there's not a lot of B9 SQ5 race cars out there.
You got trigger.
Let's not go there. But Yeah, so there's more coming. The SQ5, we curate these product lines, and I think the SQ5 is a car that, I'm trying to walk a fine line here, but I don't think people want to get as extreme with the SQ5 as they do with like an S4 sedan.
S4, S5, yeah.
So there, the level of comfort
in
and
the
stuff
numbers that you're
Yeah.
going to see in the S4 and S5. There are a number of guys with the SQs that do like going all the way.
Yeah. But
with the mods available.
Will in the next year you'll be able to build a very fast 450 horsepower.
Yeah, and you're really lucky
SQ5.
that the calibrations are going to cross over.
Yeah.
And we'll have full tuning support, transmission, ECU. For all those too.
So stay tuned. We got some cool stuff coming, and Nick will keep driving more product ideas for you guys, I'm sure. The interesting thing is how most of them have air ride, so
yeah,
that's actually, I'd say, for a SQ5 a really nice way to go.
Yep.
You could lift it, you can lower it, you can slam it, you can do it, and you're not necessarily looking for the utmost performance.
Weight savings and performance.
Yeah. Do you guys plan on expanding your products for TDIs? We don't have big plans.
Is this Nick? This the other Nick posting now?
This is
You're
Scandaloo.
inundated by the Nicks here. Yeah.
We don't have big plans for that. It's possible we could dabble on one application, like probably whatever Nick drives while having a tune.
It comes back to I think what we started with, the electric car stuff. Yes. Again, there are a lot of guys or a number of guys that are. Did I miss a section of it?
TDI game.
Oh, TDI game. Okay, I heard something very different.
Oh.
Yeah. But a lot of the TDI owners it's another eco-minded owner set. For the vast majority, there are a number that still do mod them and get a bunch of power out of them and like playing with them. But the vast majority of owners, it's a much more eco-minded purchase, and they're not really looking to make any more power or fuel use out of it.
Yeah. So I'm saying, what miles per gallon can I expect with a Stage 1 ECU and TCU tuned B8.5 S5?
You're going to get same or better than stock.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no reason that we would calibrate anything to get worse mileage in light load conditions. We
normalized for load.
Of course. Yeah.
If you just decide to just start hammering on it.
Right. This is where a lot of people get caught out is the more power you make, you're using a lot more fuel when you're making that additional power. So if you're out there hooning, and you say, well, I'm driving it the same as I did before, if that means, a bunch of wide open throttle pulls here and there, you're going to use a lot more fuel for those wide open throttle pulls, but you're not using any more fuel at light load or cruise conditions. There's no reason we don't alter any of that economy framed calibration.
Yeah, so
and I mean, to the point where our stage 1 files and whatnot have been tested and gone through the carb certification process with exactly the same light load and full load transition stuff that's going on in all of our stage 1 files.
Yeah.
Yep. No extra use there.
Ethanol tuning for MQB full E85 for the Golf R. Talk about this a lot.
Yeah.
We do plan on doing it.
Yep.
It will require, an additional fuel rail and
your secondary injection.
Yep. But we do plan on doing that. We don't have a strong ETA for that, but that will be part of the next MQB 2.0T developments.
Yeah,
that we're doing.
Yeah, we've got a bunch of MQB stuff coming up.
Are any 034 springs coming for 2015 S5? That's the B8.
Should be.
Maybe. We're definitely doing them for the A5. And I think, we'll...
I don't know. The S5 is tricky because it came originally with a V8 and then it's, flipped to the 3 liter. So getting a spring set, they're a much smaller number of cars. And then, now we also need multiple springs per chassis. So we've looked at it a couple times.
We'll keep you posted on that. So we definitely looked into it before, but decided to focus on some other more applications with more models and cars on the road. Is 034-AZZ-000 currently in stock? We want to order a set.
That's, I'm sure, an April Fool's thing.
Yes. Well, no, this is the balls.
Balls. Yeah, that's, I figured it was
Yeah.
the ball. That's what I'm thinking.
Yes, they are in stock. I think we have 3 sets.
Sets.
So that'd be 6 testicles in stock. You can only buy them in pairs. It's a real product, guys. I mean, we did release it on April 1st, but
We have sold them.
the balls are in stock. They dropped about 3 years ago, and they've been on the shelf ever since. Yeah, and these are weatherproof, so they don't shrink when it gets cold. They're stainless steel. You got to read the product.
I mean, they get really hot when the sun's on them. So
Yes, that's true. But they don't hang any lower. That's the key. There's some slight expansion due to
micrometer level.
yeah,
Just thermal expansion.
Thermal expansion coefficient. We produced a really informative video for these. There's a whole feature set. It's real. This has been the biggest problem with this product is
Yeah, I think
people just think it's not real. But see, it says there's only 2 left.
there you go. You
We
can
can
make
make
shelf. Yeah.
More are being made as we speak. So this is the perfect product. You want to pull up to like your family reunion, like a picnic this summer when COVID starts, opening up. What better way to show up to the family picnic than with some balls hanging off the back of your car, or the cars and coffee? And if your car's lowered, these balls will drag on the
They'll
grill.
drag all the way. I would recommend taking them off at highway speeds, just because they're not.
Oh, yeah.
Not really designed for that.
Well,
You don't want to be
these balls would become a projectile if they came detached at high speeds.
explaining that to your insurance company.
They do help you squat. Sir.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if your
You can just
rear end's too
rest it
high.
on like a
Yeah.
speed bump.
You have to compensate when you have an SQ5 unit.
Well, the SQ5, depending on where the airbags are, they should be swinging pretty nice. But these are a polished stainless steel product. I mean, the finest quality. So, highly recommended. And I think we have 5-star reviews on that, right?
I think so. Yeah, we haven't had a single problem with them.
It's a well-reviewed product.
Perform.
Super easy to install.
Full advertising.
Yep. Oh, wait, no.
Do we have a? Hold on. Let me go back.
Oh, there's
There's only 4.
There's 4 stars. Did someone leave a bad review? Man,
reviews.
let's see. Oh, there's a 1-star. What's it say?
Balls got caught on a street manhole at 65. Ripped my entire rear subframe out. Unfortunate.
Okay, that can't happen because the mounting bracket is
Yeah, that
designed
was
to be
install-
quick
that was
release
installer
to
error.
prevent that type of
Terrible.
yeah.
They are not there.
Yeah. The balls are not that heavy. They're hollow. It's kind of like a scrotum's hollow, so they're not that heavy.
Yeah, we don't want to get too pickle on you, but they're not that heavy.
It's maybe like a half a pound or something. So. We looked into making them out of brass, but it was too expensive and too heavy. The shipping cost a lot.
Yeah, Gary had that patent.
Yeah. All right. Any vague E85 update on 3.0T B8 tuning? First off, thank you for asking for a vague update, because that's literally what we can provide.
Yeah.
Specific, highly accurate updates, generally, we're not prepared for that. So, any vague update there, Nate?
Vaguely say the same as last time. I mean, there's not a lot of flushed out, ready to market hardware options to get the fueling in there yet. Once that's more available, we'll have more information to give you.
Yeah.
We've done a lot of testing and setting up of our controllers and fueling and whatnot. So we're going to be pretty ready to go with some pretty advanced options once it's more of a thing. But yeah, it's not anything we've got a strict timeline for right now. It's
The good news is the power from E40 is almost what you're going to get.
Like 90% of the benefit
Yeah.
already on running the E40 file with much less effort.
I get the point that it's a bummer trying to mix and get to the E40, but if you kind of get that down to a science, which you will after a couple times, then the power is right there. So, but yeah, we're working on it.
And I've done.
I don't even know if we can give
I've
a
done
big
full E85 stuff on our own car, and again, there wasn't really any discernible increase in power that is a real game changer.
Hopefully that was the right amount of vague.
Yeah,
but-
especially with the guys running like meth and all this other stuff to supplement. So yeah.
I'm doing E85 Stage 2. What are your suggestions before the tune? I upgraded intake, intercooler, turbo inlet so far, and planned dog bone mount
Yeah, I
next
guess
year
this was a DAZA.
for an RS3.
So again, go through our website and you'll see what we require for the tune.
Yeah.
And then we also list recommended, but you are also going to need the low pressure injectors for the stage 2 E85. And then beyond that, I mean, obviously the downpipe stuff, and then our turbo inlet that's coming is a huge upgrade. You've already got the intake, you should be good there. And then ultimately, once it's released, the surge tank. So there's a couple of items coming that are going to help.
Yeah. I mean, if you're looking to build 550 horsepower world class RS3 or TTRS, our catalog's all you need.
Yeah, you're a good ways there.
Tuning
Already.
to handling to braking. I mean, we've got just about everything. So
Select all.
that would be good.
Add all the car. Yeah, it's it.
Select all. Yeah. But yeah, definitely check out our website. Let us know if you have any questions. We're always here to help. What do you guys daily drive?
Yes.
I mean, we daily drive as a function of our engineering effort, whatever needs to be driven. I typically am always driving a company car of some kind. The last year, I've been driving the R8 a lot and testing products on that. I drove our A5 this weekend to get familiar with that.
Yep. Yeah, I think last week I was in the B8 for a little bit, the TTRS, the BMW. We have a 340i.
Yeah, 340i.
Yeah, it's kind of all over the place.
Yeah, so.
But I mean, my daily is the B8 or I have a Touareg or an e-Golf.
Yeah. Yeah, but I do kind of dream about just having my own car. That's just not for product development, but then at the same time, it's like seems like such a waste. If I'm driving a car, I might as well be developing a product or testing a product or familiarizing myself. I mean, that's why we can just come up here and answer any question about any of these products or cars because we have real experience with all of them. I mean, I drove our S3 for 2 years. I drove our B9 A4 for 2 years. I drove our B9 S4 for 2 years. I've driven our GTI, many, many months.
Yep.
And I know a lot about R8s now because I've been driving one for a year. And that's frankly the best way to get to know a car. And I think it's important for us to not just to be like people who engineer products or, develop products, but we also have to be an enthusiast. I think if we're not an enthusiast like you guys are, then we really lose a lot of our ability to create better products than anyone else can. And so we're doing product development from a perspective of science, engineering, testing, data, and excitement, irrational fanboy, mentality, dreaming about driving a car and dreaming about how much better it could be, what you could do to it, just like you guys do when you're driving your car. So that's, I think, has always been our commitment is to do both those things really well and to be enthusiasts as well as professional engineering product development people. And driving these cars every day is the best way to do it. There's several cars out there that I could own and I'd love to own. They're not products or brands that we currently support. So I do have to question, why would I do that? If I could be doing something to actively make 034 better, more upfront, more ahead, then I have a commute. I've always have anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour every day. So I've used that commuting time to drive cars and do this. So has Nate. Mark, our director of engineering, he drives various company cars.
He's either in his RS3 or in any number of cars we've got here.
Our marketing and most of our sales and customer service staff do. So it's just, it's a cultural thing.
Yeah, we all live. I mean, you pull into the parking lot here, and half the Volkswagens and Audis you see are all, employee cars, their own cars.
Yeah, if you ever come to our facility here in Fremont, just right out front, we encourage, we park all the company cars, and we encourage any staff with cars that we feel represents, the 034 brand to park out there too. And we have a lot of people that visit and they just spend time walking or, checking out all the cars. And anyone's welcome to do that whenever they want. So, someone's asking, what makes your DAZA motor mounts so strong, and what makes them better than the competition? Well,
this is a leftover question.
This is a leftover question, so we just happen to have the mounts here. So we have several different lines of motor mount products. One is called our density line, and then we have a motorsport line. Because the DAZA is such a powerful, heavily stressed application, we're not sure we'll probably do a density product for that. And so we've chosen to invest our time and energy in a line of motorsport mounts for the DAZA. And these fit the TTRS and the RS3, the B8.5 RS3. And these come in two different stiffnesses. There's a street sport and a track sport version. So each mount has two rubber bushings, and you kind of see these bolts here, but there's two rubber bushings that isolate to a degree the top piece, which bolts to the motor or transmission, from the bottom mounting piece, which bolts to the frame. And these are virtually indestructible. We have a lifetime warranty on them. The fastest RS3 in the world, to my knowledge, still runs these. Many 1,000 horsepower cars have run these with no issues or failures of any kind that we're aware of. And certainly if they did, we would replace them, no questions asked. The fact of the matter is, you're just not going to break this thing.
Yeah, if that
this is just
has a structural issue, then there's something very, very dramatic going on.
This is the motor mount, similar setup. So there's two bushings, and again, we do a street sport and a track sport bushing. If you want to race your car, drag race it, you want to go as fast as you can, you don't care about NVH, then definitely get the track sport option. But if you want to daily drive this, know that we don't have a super livable daily driver option. Certainly nothing that's going to be as comfortable as the factory mount. However, it's livable. I've put a lot of miles in a DAZA with the street sport mounts, and I don't think they're that bad. You feel them at idle, and you will feel them like at one point in the RPM band where there's a resonance that comes and goes. Let's say it's like 3,200 RPM or something. And so you'll feel a little bit of vibration as you lead up to that and as you pass that. If you're sitting on the freeway cruising at that RPM, you're going to feel vibrations. But if you can get above or below that RPM, then there really isn't any. So I know there's some other options on the market. I'm not going to, criticize those too much, but they don't look like they'll hold up. There's some issues with the design, and the other issue is with poly, it does deteriorate pretty quickly in an automotive environment. We use rubber bushings for everything.
You said it a number of times, but I think it needs to be made really clear. These are not solid mounts. That's something people keep. I've seen it referenced a number of times. These are absolutely have rubber isolation inside the mount. There's no metal to metal. These are not solid.
I'm able to flex it slightly.
Yeah. But these bolts that go through are basically double shear bolts with isolators and travel limiters and whatnot inside. But there's no fixed mounting to the chassis. It is all isolated.
We would never release a solid motor mounts. We have an older one for the i5 that has Delrin, and it's pretty solid.
It's essentially a solid motor.
Yeah, but that's the only thing we've ever done like that. We have a broad line of motor mounts from, our density line mounts up to this stuff, but they all have rubber isolation. You want your drivetrain to be able to move. There has to be some compliance in there. If it's a race car and everything's solid mounted, you could probably get away with that, but things along the way will break, and you'll have to address that if everything's too solid mounted.
Can you explain a little why we don't make a motor mount that is less stiff?
The density. So, well, there's a couple of so Nick's question is, why isn't there a little bit softer version of this? There's an amount of movement that you have to limit on these to just functionally keep the motor constrained and the transmission constrained in a way that'll work in the chassis. If it gets too much lateral movement, the transmission will start banging into things. The engine, the intake specifically, will start hitting the air block. So there's a confined amount of movement we have to limit these to. Where if you keep going softer and softer, you end up with essentially a stock mount, and now you've got a motor that's moving as much and bouncing around as much as it does in a stock configuration, which is kind of where the DAZA is a little unique with our lineup, where we have a density offering for the lower power cars, but when they're up to 500-600 horsepower, then we're telling them you probably need to get into a motorsport level mount. The DAZA is there with a flash, so that's why we're kind of already into this with the DAZA.
And the fact of the matter is the stock mounts are pretty good. Like,
yeah,
you can abuse them, you can pound on them, and they're comfortable.
The motor will move around a lot, but it's constrained enough where it obviously will still function. We have had issue with some people bang, they'll launch hard enough they'll actually bounce the motor into the front or back of the car depending on the condition of the mounts. But
the bigger issue with the density mount in this application is with all the drag racing that people do in these cars. The density mounts and the OEM style mounts, they're cast aluminum,
right?
And with the abuse that people dish out, the cast aluminum just doesn't hold. So we've chosen to do this build construction.
Both stock and our density, because it's obviously the same construction we've had.
And the Street Sport is so relatively comfortable that I just decided, like, let's just rock the Street Sport. It's really, really not bad at all. And you've got some of these cars have many cars have 800 horsepower. There's quite a few over 1,000. And at what point how do you qualify that? Like, okay, well, guys, this mount's okay if you're 600 horsepower or below, and if you limit all these interactions. But if the market really wants that, I mean, we'll certainly go back and consider it again. But the Street Sport are actually really nice. These mounts do soften up. Like, initially, they're much stiffer than after like a month. The rubber does settle and become softer, and then it stays there at that point. But we sell a ton of these. We've struggled to keep them in stock in the past. We've really ramped up our production on them. And again, from a customer service warranty issue, they've been flawless. Yeah, cool. If you guys have any more questions about these mounts or any of our other mounts, please let us know.
Yeah, and we can always check. If you need more info or really want to see the inner workings, we can tear them down and we'll have all spread out on all various components next week.
They're super simple. I mean, I think if you look on our website, you'll get an idea.
Yeah,
there's no magic here. It's just good engineering and it's an isolated product. So, like Nate said, there's the bushings that isolate, in this plane, and then we have an additional rubber isolator, so any movement back and forth is taken up by this rubber bushing here. And I mean, simple product, but really well executed, and that's the idea.
Yeah, we've been running this design philosophy for a number of years now too. This isn't a new thing. I had it back on my A3 VR6 turbo years and years ago. So.
Yep. What's this about the dream?
I think it's someone we should address.
Okay. Someone is saying, I dream of having my 034 intake shipped to me. I wonder if that will ever happen. Oh, listen, I can appreciate the humor in that statement. We do ship every order that we've ever received. We've shipped. And so I think we've talked pretty openly on this almost every week that we've had major delays this year with a lot of suppliers, but our air filter supplier has been impacted the most. So we've had shipment delays on all of our intakes, not just the B8. We've shipped about half the orders we've gotten, and we are shipping more regularly. So I think things are looking good to have all these orders shipped, hopefully in the next month or so. I know we have another batch that will be shipping out this week. We shipped 50 like 2 weeks ago. We don't typically email out a lot of updates. Customers email us and we respond to those. But we have put information out there. I think we've sent some email updates.
Potentially.
Yeah, I think we did like a month ago. But as always, if you ever have a question or you'd like an ETA update, email us. Certainly, you're talking to the CEO of the company here through the live feed. But we are going to ship your order. We are committed to it. We did offer on Black Friday those for 20% off, so it was a very good price. Not saying that's why we've taken so long to ship it, but
no, it was kind of like you said, a perfect storm of
hopefully
issues with the air filter supplier being one of our biggest problems.
Hopefully, once you receive it, you will be happy, or you will feel like it was worth the
your dream
wait.
came true.
Not saying you'll be happy to have waited that long.
Right. Yeah, we don't want that either.
This is not a great option for us to not be able to ship an intake for 4 months. So, if you want to cancel it, we're happy to refund it. That's always the case. But we hope you wait. The end is near on this saga, and we're bringing in new air filter manufacturer online, and we should have product from them in the next 2 months. So this air filter situation will be a thing of the past. I know we're not the only ones either, because a lot of our competitors use the same manufacturer. So not the good news, but the reality is air filters and air intake shipments in our industry have been severely disrupted. In fact, if you want, go on Summit and try to buy an air filter, like a 4-inch cone filter or a 5-inch cone filter. Many times we've checked and they're completely out of stock from K&N, from AEM. There's a couple other brands. They're all out of stock too. So it's a rough time for intakes, but please don't interpret that as something that is, blatantly incompetent on our part,
Or that we're not taking it seriously.
That we're okay with this or something. We absolutely aren't. So
we're pulling every string we can to get more product out as quickly as possible.
Best case scenario, you place an order and we ship it the same day. That's like how 98% of our orders go. That's the best case scenario for us. So, all right. Any more questions about that? Feel free to ask. Always happy to address. Email support is slow. Well, you have to define that. So we have had in the past year up to like a 3 business day lead time, which is slow. It's been partially due to staffing issues with COVID and stay at home and things like that, but mostly due to just our business doubled in the last year. And so we have doubled the size of our customer service staff since a year ago. And we're still struggling to keep up with the demand and the emails and the responses. However, for the last month or two, we've been at about a 1 business day response time. So that means if you email us on Monday, you should have a response by Tuesday. That's still really slow by a lot of people's standards, and I understand that. We're working our way to getting, to a half a day, which is, I think, probably where an optimal point that we could end up. So if you email us in the morning, you'll have a response by the afternoon.
And elephant in the room, answering a phone is not going to make that any faster.
Answering phones makes it way slower.
That slows everything down.
One of the best things we did was to turn off the phones so that the staff could focus on sending emails. This also doesn't include weekends. So we're closed on weekends. We don't have any plans to be open on Saturdays and Sundays. So if you email us on Friday evening, or let's say late afternoon, you're not, right now with the fastest lead times that we've had, you're not going to get a response until Tuesday. Possibly Monday, but more like Tuesday. So in some people's minds, that's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. That's 5 days. Well, I understand it's 5
rotations.
5 rotations of the earth, but it's really like 1 business day for us. So thank you guys for your patience. Feel free to vent to us through here, or send me an email if you want. We're available. We're not trying to hide from any issues, but it's been challenging the past year not only, let's just say, take COVID out of it, companies like us have become very, very busy during COVID because there's the stimulus money. Stimulus is just hitting now. Our sales have doubled since last week.
Yeah, and keep in mind, I mean, a lot
So
of you
we're
guys are
keeping
probably
it.
watching this from your home or home office because of the way the situation is right now. You know, we're trying to manage all this while keeping, safe working environments for everybody here, and a number of people are also doing the same. So it's a very unique time right now for all of us.
Yeah. But we're here. So let us know what we can do to help. We'll do our best. Someone's asking, do you guys think you'll be doing a spring sale at all for software? Boy, I got some good news for you.
Yeah, you came to the right.
Right now, there's a spring sale going on. So we haven't even talked about it, but the 034 Motorsport spring sale has been live for a week. Software is up to 20% off. 3.0T B8 is 10% off. Off all the options, and all our hardware is 10% off. So this is a great time to jump in and get some good pricing. And it goes through this week. So I think it ends Sunday night. So jump in and get it while it lasts. And we won't have any more sales until later in the year in the Black Friday range, which everyone has a sale then.
Yep.
And we even debated whether we should do a sale because we're so busy. We didn't necessarily need even more business, but we figured we owe it to our customers to do at least one sale a year.
Right. We normally have it during our open houses, which obviously we can't have this year. So
yeah. We're doing on time. Okay.
Couple minutes, 13 minutes.
Can you tell us more about your service department and what kind of labor rates it charges? Well, our service department is amazing. We really started doing service here in like 2008. We really got serious about it in 2011 when we took over the space next door to us. So we have since 2011 consumed this entire building. But before that, we only had like 2/3 of it. And so we took over the other 1/3 and opened a legitimate service department. We do all repairs, maintenance, OE services. You can get your maintenance, intervals done here. But what we really specialize in is doing some maintenance and some performance. And certainly this is, a great place to get your 034 Motorsport products installed.
Yeah, we've got a full in-ground alignment rack. So after any suspension upgrades, we can realign.
We can do racing alignments, performance alignments.
A number of track setup alignments for local track rides. Carry cups over.
Generally, we have 4 to 5 technicians working, and you can check out our reviews and stuff. We take that as seriously as we do anything else that we do. As far as the labor rate, we are competitive, but we're not cheap. I don't know where we're at.
Yeah, I'm not sure
exactly something. We're definitely cheaper than the dealerships, but we're going to be more than some of the kind of general European repair shops because we do specialize in Volkswagen, Audi, and we're doing more BMW, Porsche. We were even working on a Camaro last week, so
there's a Trans Am on the left side.
The cars aren't all that different, so we're able to do that type of work. If you'd like, shoot them an email at service@034motorsport.com, or you just Google search 034 Motorsport Service Department. There's a direct line that you can call, and they are answering phones there.
Only for service.
Only for not. And then they have Facebook. 034 Motorsport customer. 034 Motorsport Service Department on social media as well. So, let's see what else. I seem to be getting fuel starvation, leaning out in hard turns on track when running the E40 tune on my B8 S4. Have you seen this before? Do you have any solutions?
V8s in general are pretty good. That's almost always just a fuel starvation issue in your tank, though.
That's probably they're probably running. Fuel.
Yeah, you're probably below half to a third of a tank when that's happening, and it's likely mostly on, if I had to guess, right-hand turns where you're encountering this. And that's just literally your fuel sloshing away from the pump in the tank, and there's nothing a tune or anything else can do to fix that. That is a limitation and a hardware issue. We are working on our surge tank products for that, which directly will resolve that, but it is a hardware, it's a hardware fix.
It will completely fix it.
You need to basically have a reserve of fuel that you can provide the engine when that slosh occurs.
And this issue is aggravated the more power the motor makes.
Yeah, the more power and the more fuel. So E40 is your highest demand that you're going to be able to run on those stock components. Any amount of interruption or restriction or loss of availability of fuel at that pump is going to, you're going to notice it immediately at the engine. So there's no overhead or anything, any margin that you can make up with it.
All right, someone's asking, I'm trying to decide between the density line and motorsport line for MQB motor mounts, but have heard stories on the forums of the density line mounts failing. Can you help? As far as density line mounts failing, we sell so many of those. We sell thousands a year for the MQB. If we had thousands of mounts failing, we'd go out of business. So there are failures. We've also been selling this product for like 6 years or longer. So, there's this thing that happens that when you've been around for a long time or a product has been around for a long time, all of its history stays online. And the longer time goes, the worse it looks, even though someone could come out with a brand new product and be selling it for 3 months and there's nothing about it online because it's brand new. So if you want to dig up dirt on 034 Motorsport, it's certainly out there because we've been doing business online since 2003.
Right.
So, these cases of motor mounts in the past, we have made improvements as time goes on. And so there's a very good chance that if you've seen something online, it's in the past and it's something that was either kind of a one-off or something that we addressed and fixed or improved. I would say that you could buy our density line mounts for the MQB with complete confidence that it's a good quality product that's not going to fail on you. If you have any problems with it, we will take care of you as the customer with either new replacement product or we'll just refund you if you're not happy at some point. All of our products have a standard 1-year warranty on them. The motorsport mounts have a lifetime warranty just because of their construction and the design. But if you're looking for a more comfortable daily driver type street mount, then definitely look at our density product. Again, we must ship dozens a day of that specific motor mount
For that one
great
application,
feedback too.
Yeah. I mean, read the reviews, customer love them. But I'll be honest, we had an issue about 3 years ago where on that particular mount, something was happening to the rubber where it was starting to deteriorate. After a year or two, the mounts would deteriorate to a level that's frankly not acceptable. So we reformulated the rubber, did the testing, and that's been solved for at least a year or two. So that could be...
I'm pretty sure we emailed everyone and we replaced all of the mount. Anytime anyone had an issue, we replaced
of course. We've warranted it.
Even outside of our normal warranty window.
I know recently we had someone from like 3 years ago emailing and complaining about this, and we sent them the new version. So, we're not in the business of selling crappy products.
We stand behind everything we sell, and if there's an issue with anything, we will do everything we can.
And we'll make whatever improvements are needed. And certainly, getting a product out in the field and having it on thousands of cars gives you a lot more information and data. And we use those experiences to make improvements. So. I'd love it if you got them, and I'd love to hear back from how you like them.
Yep.
Let's see what else. Vague update on DAZA anti-lag and flex fuel. Will these be available on stage 1 and stage 2?
Latched onto the vague. Our vague. We're having to answer vague.
I like this vague update. We should do a vague update.
RL's rolling with your leg. Should want to talk about that?
Well, let's talk about it a little bit. So, many of you are familiar with our advanced launch control functionality on the B8 tuning, 3.0 T tuning. And so we have been working hard the last month. We just released our DAZA Stage 2 tunes. We are adding that advanced launch control functionality to all of our DAZA tunes.
Yep.
So we hope to release it soon. It's a very exciting feature for this tune, this application. And
it's not just concept. We're talking like it's working. It's tested.
Yeah, like our car has it working, and so we'll be releasing some teaser videos of that, and we're working hard to get that into production ASAP. As you could guess, we're going to continue to port it over to our other tunes and applications as time goes on. But we felt that the DAZA was the one that needed it the most first, and beyond the B8. So that's pretty vague, but yeah. So for those using advanced launch control on B8 S4s, what drivetrain mods will likely be stressed and need to be maintained, replaced to keep the car strong?
I'm going to come back to motor mounts first and foremost. Those in general, if you haven't replaced your stock mounts, are probably going to need to be looked at.
We have density and motorsport.
We both have density and motorsport. And the motorsport node is actually, I'd say, one of the most livable applications we have for motorsport. I've got my B8 in there. I mean, you get a little bit of vibration at idle, but once you're moving, you'd be hard pressed to know.
The V motors were well balanced, and so they don't have a lot of vibration like the inlet.
And then I'd say strongly recommend all of our drivetrain inserts because that makes a huge difference when launching both the diff insert and the subframe. It's very noticeable once you've got things a little more locked down there.
I think our strut tie bar is a good idea. It's very structural. It really ties the two front strut housings together. There's talk. Are the rear diffs problematic on those?
I mean, some people are saying that the sport diff is the weakest option and whatnot out there. I've launched the crap out of mine with a sport diff
with the
100,000 miles on it with a 3.0T.
Yeah.
And have had exactly zero issues with it. I maintain it. First thing I did when I bought the car is I put fresh fluids in it, in the diff, the trans, the engine, just so I know where everything's at. And then I have it on a normal maintenance schedule. But they're remarkably strong cars for an Audi 4-door Audi sedan to be cutting high 1.4 or 1.5 60 foots regularly.
Yeah, it sounds like that's more of an issue with 4.0T swaps.
The diff is I think a lot of that is 4.0T related. That's a whole other level of torque and grunt.
We're running out of time. Let me squeeze in one more. I know you do parts for VAG cars and BMW. Have you ever considered Mercedes Benz? We're considering it. I'd be interested to know what people are looking for. I know that's probably a very likely place for us to go after BMW. There's a lot of cars on the road. They're performance oriented. Some of them make crazy, tremendous power, and they're good cars. So, yeah, definitely let us know if you have a Mercedes, what kind of products you're looking for, and what models and applications. I think that's always the tough thing for us is like, where do we jump in?
Yeah.
What model or version of that model is the one that we want to.
Yeah, it's always a challenge for us because we're so versed in the Volkswagen Audi and becoming BMW that the learning curve is really steep to get up to the level where we're comfortable.
It is.
Developing product and really embracing and knowing the weak points and where we need to focus our efforts.
Which is why we bought a BMW 340i and we're currently all driving that and getting to know that. But yeah, probably. Nothing related to Mercedes anytime real soon. But always interested to know more about what people are looking for. So I think that's
we're running out of time here.
Yeah. Here's Nick again. SQ5 rotors for the B9. We can look into that. Nick, write that down.
It just needs to be like 40 millimeters bigger. It doesn't need to be.
They do.
I don't need to do an upgraded rotor on. They're just really small for the car.
Well, we could do an upgraded rotor with look into doing a caliper spacer bracket. So, all right. Well, thanks for joining us once again. 45, show number 45, and we're coming up on 52.
Yeah, we're not sure next week what quite we're doing. I'm going to be out of the office Monday, so
we might. I think we'll probably just bump it to another day.
Yeah.
To like whatever day you're back, Tuesday or Wednesday. So All right, cheers, and see you guys next week sometime.
Sometime.
Cheers.